Hello and welcome to the Boomerang Education Yearbook Editor video tutorial. Here we have the dashboard, the first screen that you see upon logging in. You've got a few options on this screen. Here will be any previously edited yearbooks that you've got available. In the top right you'll have your icon, which you can click on to change your password or reset that if you'd like to adjust that, or even change your name and how that's spelt. You have the help menu, which will let you get in touch with us and send us a message directly. But for now, we're going to the products menu, which will be the main portion of the editor. So here you'll be able to select a book from any previous project that you've got available, and you can click on this, and this will then open up the book. You'll notice then you'll have your options on the right hand side. I'm logged in as a chief editor, so I'll have a few other options that a standard level editor won't have, such as approve all, which only chief editors can do. And also page rights that normal editors won't be able to adjust those. So then you'll have the cover at the top. So on the right hand side is the front cover, on the left hand side is the back cover. Then you'll have the internal pages fulfilling the page requirement. So here I've got a 48 page book. You'll notice that page 1 is the first page internally on the right hand side. The left hand side is will be the inside cover. And as such, page 48 will be the last page on the left hand side, and the right hand side of this will be the inside back cover. So from here you can either choose one of the options at the top, which we'll go through now. So if you're a chief editor, I'll go through these. So you can set an editorial deadline, which you can do by just selecting a date here. So if I go into here and select this, then that's now set that deadline accordingly. You can also, if you're chief editor, approve all. Once you click that, that will approve the book and send that through to us for us to check. We will then check the book within 2 to 3 working days and send you back a PDF proof with a list of any recommended changes or anything that we've spotted that we'd recommend having a look at. So also you can check the page order, which you can use to simply drag pages round as you'd like, so you can adjust their position within the book. To return from this page, simply click on the top bar, back on the book title, and you'll be back on the previous page. The next option down is page rights. Once you click on here, you'll have the option of all the editors who have access to the book. If you want to restrict their access to a particular page, simply click the page numbers that you'd like them to be able to access and return to the book again. And that editor, when they log in, will only then be able to edit the attributed pages. Here you can also set editors. We'll normally set these editors up for you, so you don't really need to go into this menu. But if you'd like to set editors up yourself, or if, for example, it's outside office hours and you need someone set up quickly, you can do that simply by going into editors, clicking new member. This will bring up any previous members from the team, and you can click on new member on the right hand side to fill in their information accordingly. And that way you can set them up with the user. They will always default to being an editor level, but any chief editor can change their level of access up to a chief editor. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the main portion of the book. So here you've got a few different options. When you hover over a page, you can select the page number at the top and rename it. So if you wanted to give it a name as per a form, once you save that, that page will then have that name accordingly. So you can then use that to show up, schedule which pages are to be used for what topic. Next, you'll have versions. In this option, you can see who has made previous edits to the page. That can be helpful for making sure that you're not making drastic changes to some work that someone else has done, or checking with them first before you do that. You can also use the view button, which will bring up a preview of the book, which you can go through page by page accordingly, and flip between those pages. The final option, which we're going to go to now, is open, which will bring you into the main editor itself. And here you'll have the page that you're editing load up in the center. You will have the options menu down the left hand side, along with that particular menu which is brought out. You'll have a zoom bar in the bottom right. You'll have a pages menu, which you can use to hop between pages. Worth noting that if you do hop off a page, you will need to save the page that you are previously on. I'd also recommend, if the pages have been approved in a book, not to hop onto those pages, as you may make changes which would not be saved in the PDF version of the book. So worth noting that. So I'm going to run through these options from top to bottom. So first we have shape. You can click on this to add different shapes onto the page. See here I've added a square. You can click at the top to rotate it, or any one of the indicators in order to adjust its proportions. You can then move that around on the page by clicking in the center. And on the left hand side you'll notice that because I've clicked on this, it will bring up the element menu where you can adjust its transparency. You can select more for more options, so you can fine tune its positioning on the page and use this using this menu. You can also change the breadth and height of the object as well using this. You can also change the angle this way if you prefer something more accurate than rotating manually. And you can also, one that's quite helpful is you can add the corner radius. So you can see here that I've rounded the actual corners. If I just undo that again, just so you can see, so that it goes from the straight edge corner onto a rounded corner. So that can be helpful if you want to achieve that effect. One other thing, if I quickly duplicate that, is that you can use this option here to adjust the layering. So you can use this to send it to the back or bring it forward right to the front. And you can also adjust by single layers. The other option that you have when you select a shape is you can click on the background color. You can either choose a color here, and then you'll notice that it will come up with a hexadecimal code here. You can use this simply by copying, select another object. Admittedly, any recently used colors on the same page will be showing, but if you are on a different page and you wanted to make sure that this is going to be exactly the same color in print, simply paste that code in, and now you know that those two objects are going to be exactly the same color in print. You can also adjust the border, making that wider, and adjust the color of the border using the same colors that we previously looked at. So next, on the left hand side, you have images. You can use this to either go add on, well, first of all, there's a drop down at the top. So it starts you off in group. So these are images that everyone in your team will have access to. The other option is personal. Those are images that only you will be able to have access to. There's also Boomerang, Yearbooks and Pixabay, which I'll come to momentarily. So in group, if there's no folders or you want to add a new folder, simply click add a new folder. So I'm going to do one here. So I've created a new folder called demo. I then click on that demo folder that I've created, and I can click and then upload, and that will direct you to your machine's directory, where you can then select images to upload. One other thing that's handy is if you've got it open on a different window, you can just drag and drop them into this area here, and then they'll start to upload. Worth noting that images need to be JPEGs or PNG format in order to work. If you've got them in another format, such as bitmap, so a lot of photographers send them in that format, pop me an email and send them across to us. We can convert the file for you. Usually recommend allowing one working day up to that, but it's normally pretty quick for us to convert those over for you, but that's fine, and we'll do that. That's not a problem. So you can also delete folders and delete images here as well. But if we go on to the Boomerang Yearbook section, so here there's lots of different images that we've already got uploaded. So there's all the different folders that you can choose from. So some that are quite handy as backgrounds for pages, as this will have hundreds of different backgrounds for covers, and also 2020 backgrounds has some other backgrounds in as well. And to add a background, I'll show you that slightly differently momentarily. But to add an image onto a page, simply click it. This works the same for any that you've got in your group folder as well. Click it on it here, and that will then add it to the page, and you can then adjust its proportions as we did the square. You'll also notice that when you click on that, you'll have the same top portion of the elements menu that you had when you clicked on the other square, but you will have edit image and a few other things. So firstly, I'm going to show you. So at the moment, it's set to center crop, which if I was constrained to an image box that was this size, that would look quite awful. There's parts of it being cut off at the top and the sides, at the sides and the bottom. So I could select no crop, which although it will squash the image, will allow the full image to be displayed. If, however, it was something and I wanted to make sure, say, the left-hand side of the image was displaying, you can select free crop and then drag it around accordingly in the image box, and that will then adjust it. To adjust that at any point, click adjust. You can also use the mirror option, which will reflect the element. With images as well, it's worth noting that it will show the image quality. So with this, we always recommend having the highest quality possible, but appreciate that sometimes images were taken as spur of a moment things, as someone ran past on a one-legged race during a sports day where you only have the one photo that's available at that time. So we'll flag that up to you if we feel that it's low resolution enough to appear blurry in print. The next section I want to look at is when you right click on an element on the page, you'll have a menu which comes up, so you can either delete it, move it forwards or backwards, hide it, lock it, duplicate it, and also on images alone, they will also have the edit option, which will take you into a photo editor where you can add filters onto the image and go through those. Then you can click the cog at the bottom, which will take you into a broader range of options. The most common of which to use tends to be the crop icon, where you can use that and crop to your heart's content. Then once you're happy with the image and the edits that you've made with it, simply click on this option here and select Save Image. This will then take a few seconds, and that has now replaced the previous image with the edited version that I've made. So next on from the images, we have templates. So these, first off, you'll have a drop-down menu which will have group. So these are all templates which the school has previously saved. But you can also click on Boomerang Yearbooks, which will give you different folders, and there's thousands of templates to choose from. So you can go through those, jump to the different pages and select ones that you'd like. You'll also find there are various folders where they're theme-related templates. So they're all along various themes, so comic, film, jungle, social media, and stationery. So you can click into one of those and you'll find a variety of themes that are based around that premise. So to add a template onto a page, simply find one that you like, click on it, and there's two ways to add it to the page. Merge page, which will keep any content that you previously had on the page, or replace page. I'm going to select replace page now. That will get rid of the content that was on there, and now I've got that template appearing on the page. So from then, you can notice that I've got the image boxes and the other elements that I selected. It's worth noting, if you have a template and it has the grey image boxes, you can simply double click on those and that will take you directly into the images menu that we accessed earlier. Simply select an image and it will size it according to the image box that you've got. So you can use that to quickly populate a page. So there I've got the two images going in that way. So now we'll move on to text. You can either select the text option on the left hand side, start typing in a font name, and then select a font from the list. That will then add a text box at the top left of the page, which you can drag around as I'm doing here. To then click into a text box, simply double click into it. Then you can type as you'd like. You can also copy and paste using Control C and Control V. So if you have text in a Word document or other format, if you copy that and then use Control V to paste that into the text box. When you've got a text box selected, you'll notice that as well as the options that we've gone through before, you'll have basic word processing options, and you can select different fonts and accordingly. One option that is quite handy, so you can see here this is black text and the background is not amazingly sharp against this. So what I could do is I could add a coloured background into the text box itself, and that will size it as per the background. So there I've now got the colour and the text is more distinct against it, and I can even adjust the text font color in order to fit that and make it stand out more. So you can use those functions accordingly. So the next option really as well is background. So for that I'm just going to clear the page. So in fact I'll cover that first. So if you go to page, you'll have different options. So at the top of this option you'll have snap to object. So notice when I'm dragging things around on the page, it's coming up with all the red lines to show that things are aligned. You might find that annoying in certain pages, and also it can, because it locks into place, it can constrain what you're doing. So if you want to turn that off, you can then drag it around to your heart's content and it won't snap into place. You also have all the elements on the page will be listed here. So if, for example, you want to lock some so they can't be edited, then that way, so if even as part of the background, so here for example I might not want this coloured peg to be selectable, so I can just lock that and that means that that will no longer be editable by any users. So the other option as well in the page, right at the bottom, it has empty page. So if I want to clear everything I've done, I just press that, and that has now cleared the page. And one other option is as well, you have add page number so that'll add a page number into the bottom corner. So it's worth noting as well that there's the red and the blue lines around the page. So these are worth noting because the blue line is where the page is physically cut. Anything beyond the edge of the blue will not be printed on the page. The red line is a guideline, so we recommend keeping all important aspects within this border. So anything beyond that border may be at risk of either being too close to the page edge or being cut off because pages can move during binding. So we recommend just all important content within the red border accordingly. So then on backgrounds, you can either choose a color by selecting here, choosing a color accordingly, or you can select an image by clicking on image. This will take you into an image folder. You can then select an image that you'd like and then add that, and that will then add that in as the background, so that will replace it. Now you can use the other options such as mirroring it, turning it 180, or you can delete the image as well to replace it if you like. So going around the other options on the page, you also have save, so recommend doing that as often as possible with any online product just to avoid any changes being lost. Save as template. So previously when we looked at the templates menu, in the group option there were templates that have been saved by the school. So if you found, for example, that you'd made a page and you were like, actually I want to use that again, simply click save as template, give it a name, and it will then appear in the group template menu accordingly. Approve, that will let you approve the page, so that locks the page for editing. You also have undo and redo, which you can use accordingly to adjust for any edits that you want to make. And that is it. That is the Yearbook Editor. So once you're finished with the book and the final button of approval has been pressed, that comes through to us. We then check it. We'll come back to you with a proof and logins for that and any recommendations of any adjustments. And you can then make those changes along with any other edits that you spot along the way. Just let us know and we'll unlock the pages. But that's been the Yearbook demo. I hope you've enjoyed. And if you've got any questions at all, pop us a line on our customer service line, or send us a help message via the help menu, and we'll be in touch to get you back on track. But let us know if there's anything we can do to help. Thanks very much, and enjoy making your yearbook. Thanks very much. Cheers. Bye.